Hey again, everyone. I hope you're having a terrific day, evening, whatever it is for you. Look what I've got here. Second place Star Wars trivia. I need to sit it right here. Look, I'm going to stare at it the whole time to remind me that I need to be a better Star Wars fan. And that I'm not good enough and I will not accept second place for next time, okay? Alright. Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 5. It happened. And I liked it a lot. I think it might be my favourite episode. Actually, I think right now it's my second favourite episode. I love episode 1. I loved it even more when I rewatched it. So I think that's a tough one for me at the moment. But it's a high tier episode for the show, no doubt. There's so much. It was meaty. The fact here, I'm looking at it, it's 42 minutes long. And, Disney Plus does their really long credits and stuff. So it was actually a fairly short episode, but it felt like there was a lot there. There was a lot packed into it. Last week when I was like, episode 4 didn't have a whole lot, but they can pack stuff in whenever they need to. And they did. We got a lot of stuff in Part 5, which was awesome. When I was thinking last week about that sort of checklist of things we need to get moving on, they delivered on most of it. At the moment, so that's really cool. Where do I start? Reva? We got that. We got the backstory. We got the explanation. We got the flashback with her, and I was really happy with it. I thought it was cool. I really like the idea that this character, and it adds great context to the previous episodes now too. I really like the idea that this character is someone who, basically, she's a Padawan who survived Order 66, or a youngling, Jedi who survived Order 66, but her approach to surviving it wasn't, I'm going to go into hiding or whatever. It was, no, I'm going to embrace hate. That's why she's fully dark side. Like, I'm going to do whatever it takes, infiltrate the Inquisitorius, become an Inquisitor, all for a chance just to kill Vader and get my revenge on Anakin for what he did to my friends and shit. I'm like, that's pretty cool. That's a cool idea. I really like that. I like that's the direction they went. So I was very happy with that. So Reva's backstory and motivation for this show, check. Cool. Good job. What else do we get? Oh my god, we got the flashback. We got Hayden and Ewan in there doing their little lightsaber sparring session. I thought it was great. I really, really, really enjoyed it. That opening shot, and when they pull back, I had a few audible moments this episode. I had a few moments where I was sitting there in bed, and I had a few moments where I was like, oh, like that. It's like, oh shit, and that was one of them when they pulled the camera back and you see Hayden from behind for the first time. Like, oh yes, and that was awesome. Obviously, he looks a little old. It's fine. Who cares? Does he look like an 18-year-old? No, but you know why he doesn't look like an 18-year-old? Because that movie that he's meant to replicate his appearance of, that movie came out 20 years ago, and they made it 20 years ago. That's why. So, who cares? It's fine. Whatever. But it was probably, honestly, the most jarring thing about it, in a way, was actually just the fact that, Hayden looked noticeably a bit older, but Ewan looked exactly the same as he did 20 years ago. When they did some stuff with him, and, obviously he had the classic mullet look. That was the jarring part, where it's like, wow, Ewan, you look exactly the same, but Hayden, you don't, so it's like, no, I'm not casting any shame here, but, that was the funniest part to me. But dude, oh my god, that was awesome. And then, there was so much in this episode. Their whole sparring session, just talking about that as a scene for a second, and their use of, we knew there was going to be an Obi-Wan Hayden flashback, and I was hopeful it was going to be in Clone Wars armor and stuff, and they didn't take that direction, but I was very happy with what we got instead. And I think it really serviced the story of the episode really well. I loved the use of it, the way they were cutting back and forth between the present and the past, and how those moments sort of contrast each other and inform each other. I thought that was all really good stuff. I really loved how every time they cut back and forth between the past and the present, you can tell Vader, the way they shoot and direct Vader in the episode's really good overall. But you can tell every single time they cut back from Anakin then to Vader in the present, you can see that, you can see in the performance, you can see in the way they're shooting it, Vader's very reflective in those moments. He's thinking about those times. And you can almost, symbolically, you can almost see Hayden in the suit in that moment. You can almost see right through it because it's really good. Like, it's really effective. You can see exactly what's going through his mind and how he knows that Obi-Wan just totally got him, like he did back in the day. Like, really good stuff. And then the scene by itself, the lightsaber choreography between the two was awesome. It was just super fun seeing, you know how hard those two trained for their Battle of the Heroes fight and Revenge of the Sith, and you know their choreography and all that stuff they trained super hard for, and it was super fun to see them on camera, those two dudes just clashing sabers again. And you know, and the choreography was really good. It was really well shot. I was really happy with it, and you could tell that they trained really hard for this one too. So it was just in itself, it was just really fun to see. Like, it's super obvious, you know, 20 years later, these two guys have come back and they're doing the same thing again, and it just really felt like, you know, back in form, like a cool nostalgia trip just to see them on screen, you know, hitting with each other with lightsabers again. That was really cool. So, and the scene was really good. I really liked it as well. Dude, Vader, what a beast! Oh my god, his whole use in the episode was terrific. Definitely my favorite use of him so far in the show. Like, his dialogue, every scene he has, every shot with him standing on the Star Destroyer at the start and stuff, like, really effective use. Felt straight out of Empire Strikes Back Vader. Like, all of his stuff there on the Star Destroyer was really, really good. When his conversation with Reva and just him sort of contemplating stuff, it was great. I got huge, you know, Vader storming the Echo base on Hoth vibes from him charging into the base on Jabim. I don't like the hideout, when he sort of just, when he lands and just waltzes right in and he's storming through the joint. It gave me huge Hoth vibes. It was really, really cool. And I mean, talk about another really an audible reaction I had while watching the episode was, goddamn, him holding, I mean, I'm sure everyone did, him holding the goddamn ship back and just pulling it down. Oh my god, it was incredible. It was so good. I loved it. It's something we've seen before with different characters at different times. Not something I don't think we've seen it. Oh, we did see it in The Rise of Skywalker, I guess. Yeah. It's not something we've seen much, I'll say, in live action. It's usually sort of a video gamey thing. But to see Vader do it in live action and do it with ease, dude. Like, when it was just the execution of it was so good, to where he's walking. There's that shot of him from behind where he's walking towards and the ship's flying away. And in my head, I was sort of just like, oh, damn, they got away. And then just like in a split second, he just goes and just freaking stops it. And then yanks it down and tears it apart. I'm like, holy shit. That was wild. So that was awesome. But then there was like the fake ship behind it, and they just flew off from the fake one. That was kind of the weirder part to me. I don't know, like, not to nitpick. It was just sort of like, it felt a bit like, I guess I would assume that it's just tiring to, like, I mean, to tear a ship out of the sky is probably quite tiring and taxing. So I assume that's the reason. Like, it just felt weird. Like, he grabbed the ship, and then he realized, oh shit, that's not them. And then the next ship just sort of took off, and I was sort of like, can't you just do it again? But I guess he's just tired. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It wasn't a big deal. It was awesome. I loved it. It was great. It was great. I guess, what didn't I like about the episode? I think overall the episode, really strong. It just continues to have sort of some of the same underlying issues the whole show has had, which is not surprising. Like, I'm not, at this point, we understand what the show is, and we understand some of its shortcomings. We've come to terms with them, and that's fine. Just, I think some of that continues a bit here. Like, some shots don't look amazing, and the main part I didn't like about the episode, which it's super easy to look over because they're very brief sections. I felt like I was missing something. I was a bit confused as to like what Leia was doing the whole time. Like, she climbs up the ladder, and I feel like we cut back to her like 10 times, just sort of doing nothing, looking at the wall and like trying to. I felt like the whole time she was just like trying to find a button to press to open the hangar door. But like, wasn't it? I feel like it cut back to her like 5 times, and she was just doing nothing. And then her red robot was in there. Lola was like, with her red eye was in there for some reason. I don't know. I was just confused by that part. I didn't really understand what was happening. I didn't understand what took so long. But I don't know. It's just that's just again that whole thing is sort of plagued the show. Some weird sort of a bit off execution direction stuff I think has plagued the whole thing, and that's another example of that. And it's fine because it was 5 seconds, and I was like, what? And then we're back to it. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Damn. One of the other things I really liked was the really clever way, going back to the checklist of, stuff I'd predicted and talked about of what the show has to do. I really, really thought it was clever the way in which the show answered the question of why does Vader say, the last time we met I was but the learner, now I am the master. They answered it. This episode was the answer. It was genius. I thought it was really good. Basically, I mean, in its simplest form, it was Obi-Wan tricked you, you dumb bitch. Like, he gotcha. But it's all about the flashback. It's always like Anakin made that same mistake he made as a Padawan. He what was it? What was the lesson again? I've already forgotten. He gets overzealous, I guess. He thinks he doesn't see there's multiple ways to victory, and he thinks he's won the fight, but then there's Obi-Wan finds another way around. I guess that's the lesson. But really cool. I thought that's such a weird line in A New Hope that's honestly, I would imagine, quite challenging as a writer to try and come up with a way for that to make sense. And I thought that was a really good way for it to make sense, especially quite effective when you're literally flashing back to Anakin as a Padawan in that moment, and then him feeling like shit. I've been making this same mistake. I basically feel like I haven't grown since I was a Padawan in this moment because I'm making the same mistake. Like, that was really cool. So then at the end of the episode raises some interesting stuff. Actually, no, sorry, before I get there, I just want to quickly shout out Tala. I remembered her name now, the Game of Thrones lady, and her droid Ned B. R.I.P. Forever in our hearts. That she was really good, and I thought her death was good. I thought Ewan's performance to her death was good, and that felt earned to me. That moment, it wasn't like, it didn't feel cliche or annoying to me. Like, it felt earned. It worked, in my opinion. I thought it was really good. Even though, like, Obi-Wan's only known her for like a day, but like, that's every Star Wars character's only known each other for a day, really. So it's fine. And also, like, you understand that, like, this is the first person that Obi-Wan has had any sort of, like, the first fellow adult that Obi-Wan's had any sort of, like, new relationship or connection with since, in 10 years or so, right? So, like, and losing her, like, I felt that. Like, I think he did a really good job there. So, shout out to her. Good character. R.I.P. Okay, end of the episode. Raises a lot of interesting questions heading into part 6. A lot of interesting questions. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I honestly don't. Coming back to Tatooine, focusing on Luke again with that final shot, cool. Luke's going to be in danger in some capacity from Reva. That's cool. I don't know. I feel like this last part has a lot of different things it still has to do. And I'm starting to doubt if it's going to do them all, if that makes sense. It just feels like we are running out of time, and I'm a bit in my head. I feel like Vader still has to fight Obi-Wan again. I've been saying that. Well, that's the obvious thing. But I'm honestly starting to think maybe they don't fight again. I don't know. There's a sliver of doubt there now to me, where last time we met I was but the learner, now I am the master. Like, that was it. We saw it. Right? So, is there a chance? But I feel like Vader still has to have a role to play in part 6, right? That would feel weird if Vader was just dropped at this point. That would feel weird. I don't know. I'm a bit skeptical about it. It just feels like a lot of ground to cover, because Reva is the one, obviously, who learns of Luke's location now. Reva is going to go after Luke. Reva's failed in her attempt to take over from Vader. She's going to go after Obi-Wan because, when Vader was like, I knew you would, he used you, bro. And Reva hates Obi-Wan now, and she's gonna go after Luke, I assume. So I see that thread focusing back on Tatooine. Obi-Wan's going back to Tatooine because Bail's going back to Tatooine. So, and then Reva knows, so I presume she would go to Tatooine. She wouldn't have, I don't see why Vader would have to, Reva doesn't like Vader at this point, obviously, considering He's just left her there for dead. So I don't see why she would ever tell him, or why Vader would have any reason to know or go to Tatooine. That doesn't really make any sense with anything we know. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where Vader would fit into this next part. It's interesting. So I don't know. Like, I could, in some way, maybe I could see a situation where, like, the final face-off of this series ends up really being about Reva and Obi-Wan on Tatooine, which sounds a bit underwhelming. Like, excuse me, it sounds a bit underwhelming. I don't hate it on paper. I'm not just against it flat out, but it makes me a bit skeptical. I'm like, really? I don't know. It feels a bit weird, and I just don't know what story they're telling with Reva overall. I mean, I guess the obvious answer is that she's going to turn. But, yeah, I don't know where they're going with that. I mean, it's a good thing. I'm curious. I feel like I'm open to be surprised here. So, yeah, it's only one more episode. I don't know. We've still got to talk about big checklist things. You know, is Vader going to fight Obi-Wan again? I don't know. I'm starting to maybe doubt it. Resolution to Reva, more Luke. We're going to get more Joel Edgerton, which is terrific. But Qui-Gon, of course, now is going to be in part 6. This is, like, can you imagine if he's not? Can you imagine if Qui-Gon is not in part 6? Like, for real. That would be insane. But no, he's going to be in it. He's going to be in it. He has to be. So that's going to be cool. Like, how does he tie into it at this point? Like, my original thought was Qui-Gon makes a lot of sense to turn up when Obi-Wan's at his lowest, presumably after part 3. I thought after part 3, Qui-Gon was going to show up in pretty quick after that to sort of get Obi-Wan back into the groove. But that's clearly not it now. That time has passed. Like, Obi-Wan's climbing back up the ladder, you know, so I don't know what role Qui-Gon has to play at this point. I'm curious. This episode did a lot, but there's a few pieces floating around here that don't really make sense yet to me, so I'll have to do some thinking about that. How could I forget? In talking about the end of the episode, one of the main things, God, I would have been so upset if I forgot. One of the main things was the goddamn fight between Reva and Vader, dude. That shit was fire. That shit was awesome. God, never in my life have I thought to myself, it's not something I thought I'd want to see, or thought, I thought it was really creative and really well done to have a fight sequence, and a really well done one too, by the way. Honestly, probably the best action sequence I've seen. Oh no, Zoe's bugging. Probably the best action sequence I've seen on Disney Plus. I think it was really well done. It really impressed me, which was great. I'm used to sort of being let down by some of the action on these shows, but it was really good. And just seeing the dynamic shift in a Star Wars fight was awesome. Seeing a lightsaber versus just the Force. Like, it was literally, the whole fight was Reva is, and of course it just shows how powerful Vader is, which is cool, but the whole fight is literally, Reva just wants to hit Vader with her saber. Like, all she's trying to do is slash him, and he's just ducking and weaving and force stopping her, and grabs her lightsaber and splits them in two, and it's like, it was really well shot, really entertaining. I was super gripped by it. Yeah, I thought it was just really creative. I thought it was really, really good. I was very happy with that. And then, yeah, when he grabs her saber, splits him in two, and then hands her a saber, it's like, dude, yeah. He's like, yeah, come on, give me a shot, let's fight a little. He's just messing about. It was really good, and it was one of those moments I felt like where sometimes I sort of feel when like a character like Vader, when you say he's like messing around and he's just playing with his food, like sometimes that gets a bit annoying in my opinion, because it's sort of just like, okay, but he can't do that all the time. Like, at some point, he needs to get the job done, right? But this episode, that it worked because it was fun, and then he did get the job done. So he freaking nailed her and left her there, and then the Grand Inquisitor came walking in behind, all smug, not dead, obviously. Hey, I'm going to scrub through the episode, see if I missed anything. What have I got? Having a look again, is Anakin looking off at Padme's apartment building? Is that what he's doing? I think that might be that. It's not super clear, but that would make a lot of sense. I think he's looking at Padme's apartment building. No, I mostly covered it. The cinematography is great in the show. It looks really good. Again, not all the visual effects all the time, but the cinematography is really good. Oh, and it was great to see Kumail again. Great to see him back. He's my favourite. He's my favourite character. So yeah, alright. Part 5 done. One to go. Really curious about it. I'm going to think about it a lot this week, I think. I'm going to spend a lot of time trying to put this one together. This is going to be a tricky one, but I'm in. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm starting to think maybe not everything we expect is going to happen, just because there's a lot of ground to cover, but yeah. I'm really excited for where this takes us, man, as always. Alright, next week it'll be all done. We'll be able to give our final thoughts. I'll be able to chat about it with everyone. It'll be a lot of fun. Alright, thanks guys, thanks everyone. Have a great one.